It is Thursday. I don't know what time it is, but it is Thursday. You know that. And we are getting ready for our thing. Go and play a game of Agricola later, because got to. And right now I'm, of course, still organizing my minis and stuff. Let me see. Maybe I could get my brother on here. That'd be nice. We'll see who shows up. Let's see. So I actually did need that for a second. So that's cool. So yeah, I've got my extra crips and braziers, etc. They need to go in the box with the dungeon stuff. So I'm going through this. This is mostly monsters. Like the Gold King. He's cool. I like him. And I'm going through here and digging out the dungeon stuff. And then eventually I will go through here again and I will dig out the monsters from the characters and put the characters. This is a big frickin' Hyperborean berserker, like, or barbarian. You can see he's got his purple eyes. If I stand him next to like your average miniature, he would be 8 feet tall. That would make him huge even for a Hyperborean. Let's see, we got a bunch of undead in here. See, I've got another one of those multi-compartmentalized, you know, like hobby boxes that is going to be just for the different types of monsters. So I'll have one spot that's going to be all for undead, and one spot that'll be where my orcs are. Maybe a spot where that'll just be for vermin. So that'll be where all the giant ticks and everything like that are. And because, I do have a bunch of these giant ticks, which, and I need to do his base, but check out these. These are like funnel web spiders, but gigantic funnel web spiders. So not something that I would ever put on a wandering monster table, but definitely something that a player could wander into, and then it would just be not good after that. It would be like, wow, this is a bad situation. Let's see, some mushrooms, some doors are in here. I need to move. A lot of dice are in here. What's up with that? And of course, because I am a D&D dice snob, I only use game science dice. Oh, this is the creature I was talking about the other day that was, I think this is what was chasing my Roman in the game we were playing. I never really got to see it too well, but it come out of the ice and I ran. So I think it could have been this. I don't know. Whether it was or not, I know I ran. So it was like time to put on the freaking Flock of Seagulls song because I ran so far away. Yeah. because I had to get away. Dun, 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 dun. Got a lot of miniatures in here that need their bases done. They're painted. They just need bases done. Maybe I'll get to that at some point. Got a bunch of my orc pig riders. Love my orc pig riders. Listening in the background while you're at work, that's fine. Knock yourself out. Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Yeah, I'm not really being super exciting today. I'm just kind of doing my thing and organizing. That's kind of what today's been about. Just trying to get everything organized, even though I'm leaving. So, why get everything organized? I don't know. I got a couple of things I need to do around the house for chores, but I'm pretty much caught up with that. So, I've been, for the last 4 days, organizing my miniatures, and I'm going to actually label them and hopefully keep them organized. So, yeah, I've got the one big, kit that is it's all dungeon dressing stuff. So that's cool. And then I've got the other um, big box where I'm going to organize monsters by type. And, I've got, I've actually got a couple of those boxes. So that'll be fun. These are like the hobby boxes that you can buy at any hobby store or any big box store like a Walmart or something. You can buy these. I'm going to get them going. Hectic at work, yeah. Well, I have nothing but faith in your ability to handle it, Sax. You know that. My hecticness is we're going on a road trip, so I had to get the house clean so that, um, well, I mean, one, you want to make sure the house is clean because then when you come home to a clean house, right? So you don't have to come home after spending 10 hours on the road and immediately feel like you got it clean. So, you know, my wife asked my pops what he wanted her to cook while we were up there, and he said he wants beef stroganoff. So she's taking her recipes and everything. She's gonna make him some beef stroganoff while we're up there, which means I'm gonna get beef stroganoff while we're up there. That's a good thing. And then Mike and Steve and some of the other guys have been popping on, and we've been going off about the various things we really like about Hyperborea. That's kind of been a central focus lately. Even though I did post a 40K thing on Discord, it's apparently somebody did this whole 40K thing where the Emperor actually wakes up and like what happens. I don't know if it's actually considered to be a lore thing, but it is a really good like yeah, it was a really good thing. You know, it is a good video, I guess is what I'm saying. So so basically I'm just putting the metal on these doors. I mean, you can use them without it, but since I'm sitting here just, you know, chatting, this was something else. But Emperor's Texas speech, when it was around, was really funny. But this was like a 3 minute mini movie where the Emperor literally wakes up and like the first thing he does is send like a pulse of power throughout the whole galaxy, which pretty much just destroys the forces of chaos. They're right out of hand. And there's a scene where you see Rabot Gilliman crying because he can feel, you know, he feels the Imperial presence. And then, like, every battlefield throughout the entire galaxy just stops. Like, everyone just stops. The bad guys, the good guys, everyone just stops for a minute because they're all like, you know, like, oh shit. Like, when the Emperor wakes up, it destroys the Tyranids' their ability to communicate in their little like nodes, their neural networks. The Emperor's mind overshadows the Tyranid network. So they fall apart. The orcs just stop. They're just like, but that's kind of a thing I can imagine orcs might actually do since the Emperor is kind of their unofficial third god anyway. You know, they got Gork and Mork, and then they really like the Emperor. So yeah, and then it said in the little video that pretty much the Imperial Guardsmen were filled with such righteous fury, having felt the actual Imperial presence, that they went berserk and just started wiping the enemy off the battlefields, even more so than the Space Marines themselves. You know, it is an interesting little whatever whoever made. You know, it is, you know, like on 1,000 planets at exactly the same time, the guard just charged, and they were pretty much unstoppable because of how fervent they were, you know. And I was like, well, that's cool. I don't think it's actually official lore, but it's a cool idea, you know. Didn't mention the Eldar at all because, you know, I guess they don't really rate as enemies that much. Didn't mention the Tau either. Interestingly enough, it was basically just chaos and orcs and Tyranids. So, yeah, I tell you what, man, putting a little metal on these doors, you know, it's not a hard thing to do, and it really does. It really does make a difference, you know. Really does. So, I mean, it's one of those things where for the time and investiture, the payoff, uh, yeah, yeah, you're right. The payoff is really good. You know, it doesn't take much time at all. It's a relatively easy thing to do, and yet it completely makes that terrain piece look so much better. I love that. I love when you can do something really small that has a huge effect on how things look. These are my these are what I use now when I want to show where a door or a, well, for these a door, but I have walls that go with these. I got them on Amazon. They're filament 3D print. They have a starter set that comes with, like, I don't know, 20 walls and like 5 doors and whatever. And it's like $14. So I picked it up, and I'm really much happier with these. They're 2-inch walls, right? But if you're playing on a grid or something, you can just put the corners down of the room and then put the doors down. So yeah, it looks like there's gaps, right? But the players' imagination will fill those gaps. So you don't even have to do the whole room. And I don't do, like, you know how some people might build the whole dungeon. I don't put anything down for parts of the dungeon that combat doesn't happen in. And yeah, I will say I think my way is the better way. I mean, if the group's going to spend an hour just traveling down, abandoned halls looking for stuff, why in the hell would I want to draw that out on the table? It's like there's no reason for that, right? I've got my map in front of me. We'll theater of the mind that part of the game. If they enter a room and there's natural combat that's going to take place, there's monsters in there, then I'll put out the perimeters of the room and any terrain that might actually affect combat, um, because that's just how I do combat. I do my combats a little bit more tactical. And the reason for that is it causes less problems, really. Yeah, you're right, Sex. It sure does. Um, See, one problem, see, and this is, I think, a D&D issue, because when I'm playing like Traveler and stuff, a lot of the times I can theater of mind the whole game and no one ever cares. When we're playing our vampire game, we never use miniatures or anything like that, right? Uh, but in D&D, because of the AoEs and a lot of the stuff that's relatively common, I have found over the course of my DMing tenure that sometimes being able to mark out exactly where things are will prevent a lot of debate, a lot of question. You know, if the players can absolutely see where everything in the room is, then they can't ask you questions about who gets hit by a fireball or lightning bolt or who can see who or who can shoot at whom. It's all really super easy. It's like, okay, we're sitting at the table. I've got the lazy Susan there and the UDT or whatever I'm using, and the rooms are marked out. And it's like, okay, they know where everything is that they can see. Because if the room's really big, I only put the parts of the room that they can see and leave the rest blank, uh, until, they move up and scout it out. Because I am that way. I keep track of, like, oh, you've got a torch. Well, a torch will light up this amount. You've got a lantern. Well, now you can see this amount. And like I was saying a while back, one of the best combats I ever ran was in the middle of the night in a forest. They were being attacked by Draugr, and so they couldn't see because all they had was the campfire. So they couldn't see very far. And then the Draugr rune carver, that was so the undead spellcaster that was with the group that was coming up on them, cast silence 30-foot radiance on the freaking center of their camp. So like they're all getting up and trying to figure out what's going on, and all of a sudden they can't talk, and everything goes dead, complete silent. And at that point, the Draugr, who, for people who don't know Norse mythology but do know Game of Thrones, are effectively the White Walkers, pretty much, come out of the forest. And there were a lot of them. There was like, I don't know, 20 of them. And they're not weak. They're 3 hit die creatures. And the average level on the party was like 4 or maybe even 3.5, you know? So that was not an easy fight. And then the Draugr spellcaster was hanging out in the back. And every time they took a Draugr out, he was summoning back up. You know what I mean? So eventually they kept seeing the Draugr that they were killing kept getting up. And the assassin in the group used her ring of invisibility and crept around and dropped a sneak attack on the Draugr, which unfortunately she realized it didn't do the extra damage because Draugr are dead. So there's no like organs or anything to cut to do all that extra damage. And got her in trouble because the next thing she knows, she drops out stealth, stabs this Draugr, and then she's surrounded by not only the spellcaster, but like 4 Draugr warriors. And being an assassin, which is on a die 4 hit points, she didn't have a lot of hit points. So yeah, that one almost went really bad. But she started yelling for help, and the berserker ran up and helped her. So that was nice. That was good. The berserker came out. But yeah, it was so cool for me as the DM watching just the look on the player's face when I told them they could no longer talk to each other. And they're like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "You notice that there is no sound. Like as you guys are walking through the snow, you don't even hear the crunch of the snow under your feet." And they were just like, "What?" You know. Also, it took the spellcasters out of the fight. The witch and the cryomancer and the cleric couldn't even cast spells, while this was going on because all of their magic has a verbal component. So, you know, I mean, that one silence 30-foot radiant spell just completely turned the whole battle around. Now, long story short, eventually they won, you know, and it was mostly better die rolling, honestly. There were a couple of Draugr who couldn't miss, but a lot of them couldn't hit. So the players got luck, but they also got hurt really bad. And as soon as that battle was over, they were like, all right, let's rest up. They scouted around and they saw like an ancient barrow. The scout found an ancient barrow, and he posited that that might be where these Draugr had came from. And they also decided they weren't going in it. So I was like, okay, whatever. Um, so they decided to leave that alone, and with the help of the scout leading the way, they cut through the valleys of the Spiral Mountains, avoided the Plateau of Zin, and made it into the Celtic lands, where they eventually found the village to rest and recuperate. And now they're getting ready to either head over land with their mammoth or take a boat back to Cremorium. And when they get back to Cremorium, I have about 6 different adventures lined up for them. So they'll probably end up going back to the Silvery Ill Tavern, which is kind of their base of operations in Cremorium. And while they're there, I'll be able to throw down some rumors, some true, some not. and we'll see what adventures they get into next time. But yeah, I've been making videos where I've taken TSR modules and converted them for use with Hyperborea. And it turns out it's super easy to do. And so we'll see what the players want to do about it. In addition to that, I have some of the Northwind Hyperborea adventures like Port Greeley and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, my player group will have no end of options for what they want to get into when I get back, which should be next Thursday, and then we'll play on Saturday. You know, but so I'm going to be gone for a week, basically 6 days, and that'll be great. Go up, visit mom, hang out with Hungar because he'll be there. He's going to drive up from Tennessee, and then bullshit around for a few days. I plan on taking my computer and the camera up onto the mountaintop there, and like, uh, even if I don't have any internet, just recording. You know, like what I see up there, look down into the holler and across the valleys and stuff, and posting it. And I also plan on hitting the range. I have a range on my property, and so yeah, I'll probably go out and burn through some rounds on the range a little bit. I've got that AR, that 300 blackout AR that I really want to get a little bit more time on. So, you know, that's what I'm probably going to take up there to practice with is my 300 blackout AR. I was thinking about taking the AK too, but probably not. Probably not. So I'll probably get a lot of, honestly, I'll probably get a lot of actual videos for the channel done, but not probably no live streaming while I'm up there. Uh, the last time I went up to visit, that's what happened. I made a lot of videos about just game related stuff, but I didn't live stream the whole time. So I think the next video I'm making for my channel is going to be the Hill of Horrors or something like that, and how I would, where I would put it and how I would run it for Hyperborea. That's kind of the thing I've been doing, and I've been doing it because there's been demand for it. I've had a lot of, you know, people actually be like, "Hey, I want you to do this," and I of course do take um, requests. You know, if somebody says, "Hey, I want to hear more about this game or that game or whatever," what's up, Steven? Then obviously, yeah, I'm going to do that. I mean, of course I am. So yeah, I'm thinking the Horror on the Hill or something like that. I might actually do Needle and the L series modules, and those are supposed to be set on the Lindor Isles. Luckily, there's a lot of islands very near to and around Cremorium, and that's become a new like a new thing that I've been trying to do. Is anytime I do a TSR module for Hyperborea, I actually try to set it within a couple days travel of Cremorium. And the reason for that is that, I mean, if possible, some are not possible, but if possible. And I'm doing that because I kind of want Cremorium to become the group's, at least for a while, their main kind of headquarters, you know. And also, I have some city adventures I want to run that really I want to run in Cremorium. So as long as I can kind of influence them to stay in that area, the better. I know eventually they're going to get higher level and want to go other places, and that's going to be fine, 100% fine. But right now, we're just focusing on the southern side, you could say, of the continent, especially near Brigand Bay. And Brigand Bay is such a adventure site dense area. It's a huge bay, and it's surrounded by unnamed villages. So any village or adventuring area you want to put there, you can. I mean, so like if I wanted to put the village of Hamlet somewhere, I'd probably put it near Brigand Bay. And then the bay itself is a hotbed of piracy and Viking raiders and whatever monsters. So just that whole area is really, really open for adventure. It's like an adventurer's paradise, kind of. As soon as you travel to or sell up Brigand Bay, you could run into sea serpents, uh, deep ones, pirates, Vikings, just everything you can think of. That's where I put the Lost Caverns of Sajkamp, actually, was in the mountains on the peninsula of Brigands Bay. And then the town where you start your journey through the mountains is right down at the bottom of that peninsula. So you could take a boat 3 days. It would be to the east, according to the longitude and latitude lines on the atlas, and land in that village, and then start up the winding path through the mountains to try and find the uh, the tomb. And of course, I put the city, town, whatever of Flan on the middle uh, west side of Brigand Bay. So the players could do a 3 day march out of Cremorium or go up by boat and land in Flan and then go through the whole Pool of Radiance adventure, which I changed a bit in that I got rid of the dragon and I made the main bad guy, like a very powerful undead creature. But otherwise, it's the same adventure. That's one thing. When you take adventures from TSR and you convert them to Hyperborea, you have to, or not, but I do, you kind of got to get rid of a lot of the humanoids, goblins and stuff, because they just don't exist in Hyperborea. But there's so many other things that do exist in Hyperborea that can fill that spot that, it's not that big of a deal, I don't think. Which Steven will like this. I haven't even put them on bases yet, Steven, but check these bad boys out. Oh, yeah. I got like 6 of these. Operation Unfathomable. I still need to look that up. You've mentioned it to me a couple times. I'll be honest, I still haven't really looked into it. But yeah, goblins and kobolds and all that can go, but that's okay because there's so many other better monsters you can replace them with. So those things are kind of in D&D, those are basically token. And of course, I'm not ever hating on Tolkien. I love Tolkien. I think he is a master, and his stories are actual literature. But yeah, that's Tolkien. That's not R.E. Howard. You know, R.E. Howard is weird stuff, not you know, not something so mundane actually as like an orc or a goblin. Well, orcs are the best orcs are Hyperborean orcs, but you guys, I think, get what I'm saying. You know, like a goblin or something like that. That is just so mundane. That is so who cares. Whereas there's just much better, cooler monsters. How you doing, Paul?
What's going on?
I am painting
There you go.
and just talking about how I've converted different adventures from TSR to be used with Hyperborea, and how easy it actually is to do.
Yeah. I mean, the system's similar enough to AD&D that yeah, you should be able to do that. No problem.
Yeah, it's flavor stuff, really. Like Steven is saying, you get rid of goblins, you could replace them with grims, you could replace them with any number of the various degenerate ape type people.
Right.
I mean, and so really goblins are Tolkien and weird degenerate ape people, that's definitely Howard,
Yeah.
and that's just kind of the difference. That's all. So I did a video on the Polar Radiance adventure, Ruins of Adventure.
All right.
I set it. I gave the longitude and latitude of exactly where I was setting it and exactly how I changed it, and I didn't have to change very much because about 70% of the monsters in the adventure are undead, and
Yep.
it's like, well, undead is something that Hyperborea has more of than they do actual living humans. There's actual kingdoms in Hyperborea where there are more dead than there are living people in the kingdom.
Hmm.
Yeah. So so that was pretty easy. I just got rid of the dragon and promoted the vampire to be the main boss.
There you go.
So yeah, no problem there, right? But
Right.
otherwise, right now I'm just painting the metal fittings on these doors.
Oh, so you're doing the fine detail?
Yeah, on the doors it actually really matters. That's what like Saxius and I were talking about. Painting the fine details on the doors and stuff, that is like huge bang for your buck because it's easy to do and it looks amazing. I mean, it really does make a difference.
Yep.
So I like that. I like things that are easy and have a big effect. But and then I got to do a little bit of more cleaning, and then tomorrow morning we will be out of here. Of course, the wife has challenged me to a game of Agricola, so I'll be playing that later too.
Who won the last one? Because I know you played
We by
last week.
1 point. 1 point. So the only time so far I have won, and it was one damn point. I was like, well, I'll take it though. And I joked with her that I wasn't going to play her anymore so that I could always say that I won the last game. But yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's what you got to do. You got to retire the championship. Be like, all right, that's it.
Yeah.
Packing it in. I'm all done.
But the problem is, I really like the game, and
Yeah.
I bought the Farmers of the Moor expansion. So, and it's something she and I can sit down and in 45 minutes to an hour have a good time. And as I've told you, I'm sure the wife, her whole family, they're all board gamers.
Yeah.
That's kind of a thing. So I'm lucky like that, because I married a woman who doesn't, hate my game stuff. And because
It's
I
how you
did,
got to. It's how you got to do it. You got to share something, whether it's values, hobbies, or something. Otherwise, what are you doing? You
just
just
walk
gotta.
away, right? See, you say just walk away, Steve, and I hear just walk away.
Yeah.
That fat tank of gas and just walk away. You know, that speech. Again, you have forced me to unleash my dogs of war.
Yeah. I am gravely disappointed.
Yeah, that guy.
And then they had the camera angle that was just like, you don't know what it was. They were focusing like on the back of his head, and you could see like his scalp pulsating. You're like, what's going
Yeah,
on with this
all the
guy?
weird veins and stuff back there, pulsing. Like no hair is
Yeah,
just like
there's like little wisps of hair in the back of there. You're like, what the hell's the matter with this guy? Is he all right?
I would say maybe some radiation or something. I mean,
Yeah,
because when he opens that case, if that is his case, there were some military medals in there.
yeah.
And then he had that pistol with, so who knows who he had been before he become, the Lord Humongous.
Well, this is a crazy thing I heard about George Miller was like when he was on the plane coming up with the idea for Fury Road, he was just like writing down all this stuff on napkins about the history of how what's his name came to be Immortan Joe and all that. And you're like, what
Morton
the hell?
Joe.
Yeah.
Something that's funny is the Morton Joe was played by the same actor that played the bad guy in the first Mad Max.
Yeah, toe cutter. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, and at first I didn't know that, and somebody pointed out, and then I looked at a Morton Joe and I was like, oh my God, you can see it. It's right there. I mean, you know,
Yeah. Then
what
they
a
had
wow for
to
Morton Joe just sitting up there with this freaking hydroponics and milking women.
milking pregnant women. Yeah, that was weird.
Like,
But
you know, if you got no cows and you just really need your milk, I mean,
human cattle, I suppose. Just don't eat the
yeah, right?
cheese. Yeah, that's weird.
Uh, and the weird clear plastic breastplate. It was like, what is that?
Yeah, where did you find that?
What is
In
that?
the wasteland, yeah. I don't know.
My favorite scene in that movie was a nobody. It was the dude who got shot through the head with the crossbow bolt by the Raiders. And you think he's dying, and then he like kind of lifts up, and all the other war boys are like, you can do it, you can do it. And he sprays his face, and he grabs the two spears with the explosive heads on it, and he's like, witness me, and just dives off. I was like, now that was badass. That was goosebumps. That dude was like, because he had a literally like a bolt through his head, and he still was like,
Well, yeah, he knew. He was like, well, time's up. Might as well go
time's
out.
up. I'm taking your asses with me. And I kind of like the whole idea of the Raiders too, with their like shitty, rusty cars, but they're all covered in spikes and they don't answer anyone. They just kind of show up and try to F everyone else's program up. It's like, that's kind of cool, Like, who are these guys? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought they expanded on that stuff in Furiosa. I didn't watch that though because it's just like it's funny. But a lot of people were like, "See, we're not going to get any good things because you're not going out and seeing movies." And I was like, "I haven't seen movies in theaters in like years, so it's not. It's not." They tried coming up with all kinds of excuses. Oh, you don't like it because it has a woman in the lead. You don't like it because whatever. And I was just like, movies in general is just not worth going out and seeing anymore. So
Well, I thought that Fury Road was actually really good. Um, and I didn't mind what's her name at all. I could have done with more Max, especially
right.
since the guy they had playing Max, I actually really like him as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not so much as a human being, but as an actor. Or okay, I shouldn't say that. Maybe I disagree with some of his political takes, but as an actor, he's amazing.
I didn't know Tom Hardy had any political
He
takes.
does. He's like the super feminist guy that goes out there and talks all that shit. And it's like, get out of here, dude.
Really?
Yeah, look it up.
Oh,
But
see, well, see, that's why the only thing
Go
the
ahead.
only thing I know about him is like he does Brazilian jiu jitsu. That's it. I never looked up
Oh
like
no, that's
either.
respectable. I respect him for that.
So,
He said some shit that I was just like, okay, shut up, Tom Hardy. But
oh, okay.
he played like a detective in the Soviet Union hunting for the serial killer that was like murdering people at the train stations.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I forget the name of the movie, but he was great in that. You know, he's great in about everything he's in. He really is. He's a good actor. I could have I could have done with a little bit more of him. And I'm not even saying that as less of Furiosa. I just wanted more of Tom Hardy as
Yeah.
Max. I thought he was good Max. And I'm not a purist. I'm not a it's got to be Mel Gibson or go to hell kind of guy. I'm like, okay, I get it. Mel Gibson's 70. He can't be Max right now. You
Yeah.
know?
He's a little old. I don't care how many stem cell treatments he's getting. He's not going to be able to be as spry. Because even Tom Cruise is getting old, and that guy likes to do his own stunts because he's crazy. But it's like, yeah,
Well,
he's
Tom
in his
Cruise is
60s
what we
now.
called in the Army a pocket Hercules.
Right?
He's like 5'1", but he's just built like, just a brick. Yeah, De Niro has had some takes, and I'm just like, shut up, De Niro. I love you. And you're going to make me not like you. But you're like the best part of freaking Goodfellas and so many movies. I just want you to be quiet and let me love you.
He's got the most brain dead takes too, where he's just like, "Fuck Trump." You're like, "Awesome. That's your whole opinion." Fuck Trump. And you're like, "Okay, that's great."
All right, great. And that's what I'm saying. It's like
Awesome.
no reason, no thought out. Like,
Nothing.
as an actor who lives in New York, Trump's stuff has affected me very badly in this way, this way, this way. So I don't care for it. I'd be like, okay, totally, I get you, bro. But coming out and being like, I hate that dude. It's like we both know 20 years ago you would have kissed his ass if he would have, nodded at you. We all know all of you Hollywood guys loved him. So it's like, shut the fuck up, right? Just keep being Jimmy from Goodfellas so that I can keep liking you. That's all I'm asking. Now, you know who I think was awesome recently? If we're going to talk about, we said negative things about actors. Let's say something positive. Ryan Gosling.
Mm-hmm.
He gave a speech at a theater where they were doing that the Hail Mary movie or whatever.
Okay.
Him and the alien had to save the sun or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were having like a showing, and he showed out up there, and he, paraphrasing him, said that don't let actors in theaters try to guilt you into watching movies. It's not your job to show up to watch the movie. It's their job to make a movie you want to show up and watch.
Right.
And everybody was just like, holy shit, Ryan Gosling being based over here,
Well,
And
it's silly when the idea, when based ideas are just like common knowledge, where it's like, yeah, you don't owe anything to people that produce a product. Their product needs to be good enough for you to consume. But that's the thing. There's these dummies who are just like, oh, another Star Trek movie. I like Star Trek in the past, so I have to watch this. Otherwise, Star Trek go bye-bye. I never see Star Trek again. So they're watching. It's been gone for like 20
forever.
years.
There's never been a Star Trek being made.
Yep. That's
all
how it
because
should be.
Of that bullshit. But regardless of that, it's like I didn't even know I liked Ryan Gosling as an actor until I watched Blade Runner 2047. Or I think it's 2047, right? The new Blade Runner.
I think it's something like that, 2047, 2049, whatever it was. But yeah,
whatever it is. Yeah. And I was like, I watched it at least 20 times between you and I now.
Jesus. That's a lot.
Well, yeah, it's on my rotation. Remember I told you I've got the rotation of movies. I don't really watch a lot of newer movies.
It's like a 3-hour movie though.
And but it's so good. And Batista is good in it. And it starts. I mean, that movie grabs you by the short and curlies, like from the beginning.
Well, that original opening was the opening in the script for the original Blade Runner. He goes and visits a guy like in his farmhouse or whatever, and he kills him. So that was from the old script.
And that's Batista, who plays Sapper Morton.
Sapper Morton. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the whole idea that for most of the movie he thinks he might be Deckard's son.
Yeah.
And then he finds out, of course, he's not, which is a letdown, but still cool.
It was an interesting message considering the first Blade Runner, where it was like the message is like the synthetic human is living more life than the guy who's actually human,
right?
Because that whole idea that Deckard's a replicant's kind of bullshit. That's Ridley Scott getting brainworms and getting fucking old.
Yeah, they put that to rest. Deckard is 100% not a replicant.
Right.
Rachel, however, was.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
but we all
they
knew.
added that whole thing in where she could have a child. That was Terrell's whole thing, and that was interesting because in the original movie, Terrell was like short sighted. He had those really thick glasses. You're like, okay, that's the metaphor. This guy thinks he's God living in this high ivory tower, but he's short sighted, so he's not going to see his own creation killing him. And then they tried to do the same thing in 2049 by showing the next one that's like him is blind. So it's like, oh, okay, I understand. These guys with God complexes can't see what they're doing, that kind of thing. But
And that was actually creepy, though, Paul. Like
oh,
when,
he had those little tadpole drones or whatever that would watch for him.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's sitting there and his eyes are kind of glowing that silvery color, and he's got all the drones. Look, and Love's standing there, and you see the drone just come up, and and she's got to keep the blank face because Wallace is a maniac. I mean, he's
right.
straight up not cool at all. And,
I
I
was
mean,
surprised she didn't show up as like a Benny Gesserit in his Dune movies because she was in that, and I was like, oh wow, she'd be perfect as like Jessica or somebody in any of the Dune movies because that's Villeneuve directing those as well. But I don't know, maybe she wasn't available or they needed a bigger name or some bullshit.
I agree with you. She could have been someone and should have been
Yeah,
someone.
yeah.
Um, but the guy who played Wallace, that guy is a freak.
Oh yeah, but he's
Like,
usually not good. He's not really great in anything, to be honest, unless he's like a secondary character. Because like, remember he was in what was it? He was in Fight Club, and it's like, he was in the background, so that's why it was like he
well,
was
he was the
palatable.
one that what's his name beat the shit out of
Hmm.
for being too pretty.
Too blonde.
Yeah, and then he was the Joker, and oh my god, it is
Oh,
like
that
the worst.
yeah.
Like even epic rap battles of history made fun of him, talking about how he come out looking like Takashi 6ix9ine, and and they're like, "That's not the Joker. Get out of here."
What's the problem is you give a chucklehead like Zack Snyder any amount of control. That guy's dog shit. He's like, you should make the Joker look like this. Like, yeah, no, we're not gonna follow anything you say. You fucking retard. That guy's only movies have been based on other people's works. That's it. Like
It's
he blew it,
weird how many there are like that though.
right?
Like
He just
Roundhead
can't
Ryan
create
Johnson,
anything.
he can't do shit. All he can do
What
is
are you talking
moan.
about? Everybody is saying Knives Out is like the best thing ever since sliced bread or whatever. He's made
I
like
haven't seen it
three of
yet,
them already.
so
I
I'll
don't
have
give a
to
shit.
I'll have to withhold
Yeah,
judgment. But
I saw Looper. That was okay. I didn't think it was groundbreaking.
no. And then the other one that helped ruin Star Wars, the guy from Lost. It's like, let's be
Well,
honest,
he's never been good.
he lost the plot on Lost after the first season. He's just making shit up after a minute.
Right. Well, that guy, yeah, J.J. Abrams only has a career through his connections, and that's it. To be honest,
Yeah,
that guy has never made anything that was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Like, no, you watch everything sooner or later falls off, and it really depends on his level of engagement. I remember the first season he produced the first season of the Westworld show, and I called it right away. I was like, this is getting good word of mouth. It's stuck the landing for the season finale of season one. I guarantee you he'll promote it because he'll want to take responsibility for it. And that's what happened. He showed up on the Late Show and all that stuff talking about Westworld. But then when his shit fucking flops, he's never to be seen. He is just J.J.
yeah.
Abrams is awful.
Westworld was such a disappointment to me
Yeah,
because it was like you said, that first season was rocking, man. I was wanting to know all about everything. And
yeah,
then after a while, it was just like, I don't care about any of this.
right.
It was like,
Well, I knew right away as soon as it was like, oh no, robot Tandy Newton gave herself all maximum abilities. Is she going to break out of robo slavery? And it was like, that's how I knew it was going to be. It was like, oh, I don't need to watch another episode of this show.
yeah, it's like,
So, but that was I'm trying to remember who the four. It was like it's pretty much the four horsemen of like the cinematic apocalypses. It's definitely J.J. Abrams and his buddies. Who is it? Bob Orsi. Who's the guy that just did Star Trek and crashed it into the fucking ground. Oh my god, I forget his name.
Yeah, the new Star Trek that was kind of like Star Trek 90120, where
Yeah, where it was
yeah,
all
Klingons
kids.
wearing dresses and shit, and it's just like,
Yeah, I like
who
it
is
too.
this
They didn't
actually?
even give him the Klingon teeth, and the guy couldn't even do a Klingon voice. They had to roboticize his voice. That guy, it's like, and they're like, you just don't like it because it's black Klingon. And it's like, most of the Klingons were black. The original guy ones, most of them were
Worf was
Hispanic.
black,
Yeah, you're like, what are you
right?
fucking talking about?
What are you talking about? Well,
Right.
that's I think what Ryan Gosling was trying to say in his speech too, is like this idea where they make a shitty product, you don't like it, and then they accuse you of being the problem, and it's like you're not the problem.
Right?
The problem
Alex
is they made
Alex
something
Kurtzman.
for
Yeah, that's
nobody.
it. Yeah, but they just pissed the money away. That's what they knew. They people are like, oh my god, look at the budgets, and it's like, what more proof do you dummies need that they're just pocketing the money? You know?
And when they're
That's why
like,
people should let this stuff fail. Let the
right,
money dry out, and then let it go back to, oh yeah, we can't just rob production companies and say, oh, this is how much it costs. Look who we hired, a bunch of fucking nobodies. And yeah, but
they
yeah,
tried to pull that same shit because of the female commander. You know, like people just didn't like it because of the female commander, and everybody's like,
yeah, we
Janeway.
watched 7 seasons of Voyager, you fucking retards. The problem
Right.
is too is these people like they're like history only goes back to like 2016. You're like, no, it doesn't. I was just watching rewatching because it's for free on YouTube, Star Trek 4, and they had a black female captain on that, and it was like that was I think that was before Next Generation even. It's like nobody gives a
Uh-oh,
shit.
we're having connection.
It's just these people, because what did they have at the Met Gala? They had that one the what was it, like the Senegalese black trans woman supermodel in a wheelchair, and it was like, holy shit, they tried ticking every fucking box in the book on that one. It was like Yoda showed up, you know. They were
I
like, all
missed
right,
that. I
give
missed
them the
that.
medal. They ticked all the boxes. There you go. Now you can say the first of the first has now firsted, and we
Yeah, Star Trek is the exact wrong franchise to try to hate on the audience for being bigots. Because
yeah, you see a
I
lot of
mean,
that
no matter how
retardation
far
in the
you go
comments.
back, yeah, you got Kirk kissing Uhura.
Yeah,
You got all of that stuff in the 60s.
yeah.
And then you jump to the next generation, and there was all kinds of stuff going on there. It's like every edition of Star Trek has been a relatively socially progressive situation.
Right.
So
But
saying, "Oh, people
it
don't
was
like Star
they
Trek
were
because they're bigots," it's like, do you even know Star Trek?
but it was competently done and written by people who lived. That was the difference. You know, the people in next gen and in the original, it's like you got episodes written by like Richard Matheson and all these, legendary writers in horror, sci-fi, and what have you. You look at the writer, or you just look at the producers. I forgot for which. I think it was Star Trek Picard had like 21 producers on it. And it's just like, what a pile of shit. They had that many people that couldn't come up with one coherent thought.
And meanwhile, classic Trek, you had writers that had charged the beaches of Normandy,
Yeah,
jumped into combat, you know, like people who lived actual lives and then become writers,
right.
you know.
Well, that's why, yeah, you have all these people going into comics and they're like, oh, did you know this is the first trans Sudanese whatever? And you're like, who cares? What have they accomplished in their life? Jack Kirby fought across Europe and survived World War II, and then came back and with Stan Lee created the Fantastic Four, and the created Marvel Comics. So
Right.
just yeah, you have these people who are just like, isn't it amazing? This is the first,
And
I
then
don't know, person
Tolkien,
who really likes Thai
oh,
food to write this comic. You're like, wow, that's something, isn't it? The first,
right? Tolkien
yeah,
survived the Somme, one of the most brutal battles of World War One.
Hmm.
You know, and then come home and you
yeah.
know
Well, that's
wrote.
why now, yeah, you have D&D adventures about people working at Starbucks. Because what did you think the game writers did for probably a good portion of their professional careers? They probably were making lattes, and that's it. That's what they know. They didn't fight any.
Gygax joined
These
the
guys
Marine
didn't.
Corps,
Yeah,
and a lot of those dudes, like well, the one guy that Vic talks about a lot, Colonel Wesley, was in Vietnam or served during Vietnam in the Air Force. So a lot of those really old school TSR guys, they'd seen some shit. Whether they went to Vietnam or not, they lived through it. You know,
Right.
you know, they actually did things. I mean, Gygax, if you follow his life, he started like 6 businesses. He was always doing something. Like he ran a
Sure.
shoe repair thing and he ran another thing. He was always doing stuff. And it's just like, I don't know. You can't even really compare, bro. You can't compare the modern writer with some of those old guys, and the directors too. It's like Spielberg in his prime was just insane. That guy.
Hmm. Well, that's the thing too. It's like people need to understand that talent is like a finite resource. At some point, it runs out. Like we're
Yep.
talking about Blade Runner, and it's like, man, Ridley Scott movies were excellent to a point, and then it was like, oh man, these are dog shit. you know, like let me look up. I'm trying to remember the exact point. It's definitely after Gladiator because Gladiator was awesome. But let me see here.
I mean, the first 20 minutes of Gladiators, like some of the best 20 minutes ever put on film.
Yeah.
When he's walking through the lines with the Roman legions and Quintus, and he's like, wait for my signal and unleash hell. And the German guy comes out, just yells, go home, you Roman dogs, in German, though.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this shit's good, and you just, and the music, whoever did the soundtrack for Gladiator, the dun 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 dun, during the battle, it was like, oh my God. I saw that in the movie theaters and I was just like, holy shit, that was good.
Yeah, it was somewhere between Body of Lies and Robin Hood that it was like, because like
Yeah.
American Gangster was like a high note, and then it was like, Body of Lies, and then Robin Hood was, ugh. The
Well, I
Robin
think,
Robin Hood was like he was trying to capture that gladiator energy again with Russell Crowe, and it was like, no, you only get
yeah.
one shot at that. Because
No,
then
I
after
think
that, it was
you're right.
Prometheus and all the alien bullshit, and like occasionally there's some okay stuff in there, like The Martian was good, but then it's like it's all alien stuff. And what else did he do? Raised by Wolves was an awful TV series. Napoleon was laughable. Gladiator 2 had a guy in Roman times now, mind you, sitting down in a Roman cafe reading a newspaper in Roman times. Yeah. So anybody that spoke up about it, Ridley Scott was like, who gives a shit? These guys are just a bunch of assholes, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you make a historic movie, you don't throw in newspapers in ancient Rome and coffee. You asshole. But yeah,
They wouldn't even have coffee. That's from the
they
new
wouldn't have
world.
coffee, and there would not, the printing press was like several centuries off. So yes, they did not have
Yeah, the only
newspaper even.
writing would have been like super important shit for like politics and
Yeah,
stuff.
you wouldn't have a guy sitting there like sipping a coffee reading a scroll. Because yeah,
Yeah,
you wouldn't
that,
have
see,
you
I
wouldn't
never
have
even saw
papyrus like
that
that.
one. So,
Yeah, I didn't waste my time with it because I saw because I was like, wait, they retconned stuff. They were like, well, no, the kid in the first movie was his son. It's like, no, he isn't. His kids and wife were murdered.
they were.
Who are you trying to fucking fool? It's like they tried to gaslight everybody into like, well, just believe this so that we can write a shitty sequel. And it's like, why? I don't have to see your sequel.
And I
So
didn't. But, having just some rando hanging out in a Roman taverna, sipping tea and reading a paper. It's like,
yeah,
tell me you know nothing about Rome,
yeah. And
because
it was what's his name? It was Denzel Washington who, from all intents and purposes, from what I heard, just plays Denzel Washington in that movie. And it's like, oh, that's rough. I guess he realized like the director is asleep at the wheel. I could just fucking phone it in on this one.
yeah, he probably wrote in and said, "Well, time to cash a check."
Yeah,
Some you can tell when actors they do that sometimes. They just
yeah. Well, and it's not like he's in like the late stage of his career where he does that for everything because he did what was that movie where he was the pilot, the alcoholic? He's
yeah.
really good in that. He did
Well,
a lot of
Denzel
just like,
Washington's generally pretty good in about anything, but
yeah,
sometimes if you're an actor, I think what happens, because I've seen it, you'll have a really talented actor that's great in everything, and they're in a movie that they know is shit, so they just kind of phone it in because they're like, yeah, whatever, you know.
yeah. Well,
No,
and that was the problem with Brad Pitt in Troy, where he was just like, "Fuck it, I hate this movie. I'm going to act like a jerk." And it was just like, so he had a scene where he's acting across Peter O'Toole, and it's just like it looked like, this masterful actor and like a simpleton, like a guy with Down syndrome trying to act. It was like, oof, yeah, good thing you did that, Brad Pitt. Really made a good impression for yourself on that.
that's funny that you mentioned that because I spent like 30 minutes the other day literally going off on how much I love Brad Pitt and Troy.
Really? Yeah,
As a
no, like,
kid, I thought he was
eh,
pretty badass, man.
for the combat and physicality stuff, maybe, but it's like he's
Yeah,
sitting
that's
there,
what I was.
he's sitting, he's sitting there, and Peter O'Toole's giving him that speech of like, "Let me have my son's body to bury him, send him to Hades, and say the rights over his body," and he's like, "I think about this, okay," and you're just like, "Holy shit, Brad Pitt! I know you could do better. I saw you in Legends of the Fall. What are you doing?" And it was just like, yeah,
That was
he,
another movie I brought up, Legend of the Fall. I was like,
yeah,
he was amazing in that. He was
yeah.
good in the Christian Slater movie. What was it? A True Romance. He was good in so
Oh
many
yeah,
movies.
where he was the stoner on the sofa.
On the
Yeah,
couch. Yeah,
yeah.
he's
Yeah,
good
because
in
then
Dope.
because James Gandolfini leaves and he's like, "Man, I'll fucking kill you." It's like you're not gonna do anything. He's like, "Oh yeah, I think I went to Vegas or something, man." He's just laying there, yeah. And I love it because you can see James Gandolfini almost laughing, like breaking character. He's like, "You sure? You sure about that?"
I was do you know when Del Toro does the thing in The Usual Suspects, and they're like, "Okay, read the lines," and Del Toro's
Mm-hmm.
like, "What the fuck?" You know?
Yeah.
And the one guy starts laughing next to him.
Mm-hmm.
That was not scripted.
Yeah.
The dude just cracked up, and the director was just like, "That's awesome, leave it in." You know?
Yeah, well, that's what I heard. Yeah, he just left it rolling because like somebody like ripped a fart or something. And they were just laughing and having a good time, and they just kept it rolling. That's kind of like what Scorsese does. He's just like, "All right, and now you two guys are talking about something. Go." And there's like no script, and they're like, "All right, we got to ad lib." So they'll just talk about, like, "Yeah, yeah, my girlfriend. Oh, I fuck that," and then they just keep going until like once Scorsese starts laughing, then he's like, "All right, that's good. Cut." And it's like they'll take that. So like whenever
Give
they
me the
have like
money, you motherfucking bastard. It's like,
two
what
mobsters
did you
talking,
say?
yeah.
So Coco says Brad Pitt regretted his appearance in that.
And True Romance, that's unfortunate. It was
Floyd.
fun. Yeah, Floyd
Yeah,
was his
he was
character in
fun.
there.
That was great. And
Yeah.
and I guess now that I think about it, I will agree with homie over here. Uh, the thing I loved about Brad Pitt in Troy was the combat scenes. They were, I mean, like when he rolled out in the beginning and he's just a smart ass. Imagine a world where kings fought their own battles and all that shit. And he runs up on that giant and stabs him, which
Yeah.
somebody said he tore an Achilles tendon during that scene.
I
So that's some
imagine.
irony.
Yeah.
And then the one dude who goes to give him the baton, right? That dude is like a big actor from back in the day.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, he was like really famous like back in the old days or some shit. And Brad Pitt's just like, he's not my king. And then he starts like egging on the thieving army or some shit. Is there no one else? And everybody's like, no, you just killed a 7 foot tall dude. I'm not jumping out there. I'm a farmer. Because during the time of that time,
Yeah.
the only ones that had a standing army were the Spartans. Every other hoplite was a farmer or merchant who was expected as part of being a citizen of the kingdom
Yeah.
to buy their own gear, or as they called it in Greek, panoply or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you're some farmer and you're standing there with a hopline and a spear, and you've got basically a demigod calling you out, it's like, yeah, you're probably staring at the ground like,
What's up, losers?
What's up with you? I'll see you in a couple days. I'll make
Yes, you will. I'm leaving tomorrow.
you will pay for your insubordination, sir.
I ain't paying for shit. I ain't even bringing my debit card.
So he didn't like his. Well, you know what I don't like? Musicians do this too. They like put out an amazing song that everyone loves, and they're like, I never really liked that song, and it's just like, shut up.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I dislike about Radiohead, because I'm a total Radiohead fan, right?
And they're like,
Yeah.
we really don't like the song Creep, and it's like, shut up.
It's like I listen to Radiohead skinning a cat as long as they got some music to it, and if the cat, I don't care if the cat's alive, but we don't like the song Cream. I'm like, shut up, bitch.
Yeah, just shut up. You hit it big. Just admit you hit it big. Move on with your stupid ass. Try to act like away, and the same with actors. Yes, my love.
I have something cool to tell you, but if you're live streaming, I'll wait till you're done.
Yeah.
Hi, Monster.
Your feet are really pretty today.
Oh, thank you. Is it just you and Hossie?
And Paul, the guy from Chicago, and Paul's cat, who I don't know if it can be trusted because.
Okay, well then I'll take you.
What? Because it's black?
Because it's a cat.
So I went online to make like an appointment with a primary care physician for like a wellness visit. And my company, I mean, I have to give them some notice, so I can't do it this week. But they do your first visit telehealth, completely free. And then
well, yeah, your insurance wants you to have checkups.
Yeah, so I can do my preventive care, like whatever, telehealth.
That is exciting. Mom will be pleased.
So I went ahead and looked into it. I just can't sign up today because they try to call me Monday or Tuesday.
And we'll be
there.
in an state. No, that's great. I can stop bitching at you about going to see a doctor.
Do that. I mean, so yeah. Well, you said you really wanted me to do it.
I did say that.
So I was looking it up, and I'm like,
and look how excited you are. You're just like a bubbly little elf.
Well, I mean, you've been bitching at me about this.
Yeah. I have, guys. She's not wrong. Because of my being in the fire department and everything, I get like twice a year checkups because they're worried I'll develop a cancer or something and die.
Telehealth, they can help me find like a local person.
She never gets her checkups. And I'm like, look,
because I'm healthy.
You are healthy and beautiful, but you're a woman and you need checkups.
Does Hossie know I make you need stroganoff while I'm there?
I did say something about it to somebody.
Yeah, because your dad requested beef stroganoff.
Yeah, Pops wants beef stroganoff. Tracy's making beef stroganoff.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, you'll be there.
Oh, you making it in Kentucky?
Yeah, she's bringing the stuff to make it up there for Pop. I said Pops.
Oh, nice. I'm making curry because Mom wants me to make curry every time I come up.
That's cool. I like Korean curry.
Japanese curry.
You're going to make Japanese curry. Okay.
Tonight I'm making Thai shrimp curry.
Going to make cookies, probably peanut butter.
Nice, because they're the school cookies.
Well, because they're your favorites, so she's going to make you the peanut butter. But anyway, I like Brad Pitt and Troy.
Yeah, the was it the King of Thessaly or whatever? That was
right.
That was Julian Glover. He was the guy that played General Veers in The Empire Strikes Back. And if you ever saw, what was that? Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. He was the one that drank the wrong cup and then turned into fucking dust.
That's what I'm saying. That dude had been in like some movies there, and then of course you had the dude that was the King of Troy. He's super famous.
Yeah, that was Peter O'Toole. Yeah.
Did you see Off-White? I heard you guys talking about the Met Gala. Did you see Off-White at the Met Gala grinding her teeth like she's on all the cocaine in the world?
No, I don't want to talk about the Met Gala. I have no respect for anyone who even watched it.
I didn't watch that, but you see videos of that all over the place.
Yeah. I might see some later when I watch my requisite hour or so of Asmongold complaining about shit. But yeah, I don't watch any of that, man. I got no respect for these people.
And anytime I see footage of it, all I know is I just hear that Marilyn Manson, The Beautiful People in my head. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is all it is.
That's all it is.
Watch them. Look at them. They can't be wrong.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Cops and quiz. They make good looking models. Right.
people. The beautiful people. The beautiful people. Oh.
Yeah, Hungar went and saw Manson. What? How many times in 1 week was that?
Just twice. And the second time, it's not like I paid for it. They signed me in to the show. So it was like for free.
Look at me, I'm frozen.
He's frozen.
Yeah,
I'm just like, you'll see that look in the future if Cold Iron Skillet catches it.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's gonna be like, oh, perfect. Now I need to make 37 memes of this.
Yeah. Well, I'll
That's
just
my
put
boy.
that. There you go.
Oh, James' seal of approval. That's nice.
I've got the seal of approval and the seal of disapproval.
Yeah, I sit the seal of disapproval and I look all mad and the thumbs down. It's just like, eh. I send it to Max Lau a lot. Like when he makes a post, I just post the James seal of disapproval. Or I've got the James seal of suspicious fuckery. And I just look like I'm being really suspicious about something. So it's like the press X to doubt, but it's me being like, I don't think so. And of course, the reason I gotta drag Max is because I have the seal of disapproval, and it's me dressed up as a house mech pilot. So and Max Lau, of course, being the hardcore Capellan, I have to be like, fuck you, Capellan bastard. If you don't know Valvetech, you don't know what I'm talking about. But so anyway, yeah, I got all these doors painted. Going back to something, you can't see them, but they look really good. Now I know that I wonder why my computer keeps doing this. It can't be overheating because it's sitting on top of a cold pad right now. That's turned to max. So why my camera keeps being a douchebag, I don't know. Okay. And okay. So let's mess with this a little bit and see what we can see. Yeah, Haas at one point was like a huge. See, it's just showing black, and now it's saying unable to access camera. Make sure it's properly connected, and not being used by another.
It's being hacked by your neighbors. Can't hear you now. I see your thing lighting up like you're talking.
Camera or the computer is dying.
All right.
That's it. I've got
Well, yeah.
another computer though, so
Got another one. Just throw that one out and plug in the new one. There you go.
well, I mean, kinda, but I don't pay a lot for these laptops. I don't pay a whole lot for them. They're just
Right.
Acers. They're not like game computers or anything. They're just basic. And I've had this Acer that I'm on right now for at least a decade. So yeah, it might be about time to swap her out anyway.
Swap her out.
Take the RAM out of it before you throw it away.
Yeah, the RAM's worth something, kind of.
Yeah, apparently because of all the crypto bros, you buying up all the RAM to run their freaking farms. But
And
so
you said I used to be a big bro. You said I used to be a big Manson fan. Don't sell me short. I'm still a Manson fan.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I like Down in the Park, and I like Lunchbox quite a bit. But I like Down in the Park by everyone. So Two Way Army, Foo Fighters did a
Foo
cover
Fighters.
of it. Manson did a cover of it. I'm sure other people did a cover of it. Maybe Dolly Parton even. I don't know. But
Yeah, I think everybody did a cover of Down in the Park.
yeah, that's one of those songs. It's like everyone has done a cover of. But
And that's so
yeah, that's fine with me. I don't, whatever. Down in the park where the nightmare feature machines play kill by number.
I bet you Billy Strings would rock down in the park.
Yeah. Down in the park with a friend called Five. Yeah, that's that Gary Newman post punk shit from like the end of the '60s and '70s. Two Way Army and Velvet Underground and all that.
It's kind of weird. He did that Cars, and everybody knew him, and I didn't hear anything from Gary Newman in the longest time. And then I saw he was touring with Ministry and Frontline Assembly, and I'm like, what in God's name is Gary Newman doing? And it was like, oh, I guess he took like an industrial turn at some point. So
Yeah, I recently watched a video because it just popped up, and I was like, "Who the f- is that?" And then it's like Gary Newman, and the song was like "I Am Destruction" or some shit like that. And I'm just like, and like you said, it's all like industrial, you know, heavy shit, like old 9 Inch Nails or something. And
right,
I'm like, okay, I mean, but the song that made him big was Cars, but
Yep.
he had like Our Friends Electric, Down in the Park. Um, if I was in front of my computer, I could tell you some more. But he was actually like in the post punk scene, he was big. But Cars was the one that actually put him into the mainstream, And kind of like with Manson, his mainstream song was probably The Beautiful People. But for
Yeah,
the longest
pretty
time,
much.
people were listening to like Dope Hat, and all that too. I mean, he had a couple of albums before the album with Beautiful People even came out.
Oh yeah, no, he was around for. I'm trying to think since what early '90s.
Yeah, and what really put him over the top was when he started working with Trent Reznor.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Because yeah, what was it? Trent had Nothing Records, I think, through Interscope or something like that. Or
Right.
no, it was who was that? Was it Dr. Dre or something like that that gave him his own record like spin-off label, and that's where Pop Will Eat Itself and a bunch of other bands that like he kind of brought up through that got popularity from it. And one of them was Marilyn Manson's probably the biggest one.
Right.
Tori Amos was one of them too.
Right.
Tori Amos, oh God.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I know Manson was at an Eminem concert as like a guest performer.
Mhm.
So what you're saying checks out definitely because, I guess I saw an interview and Eminem was saying that Marilyn Manson was catching a bunch of shit and him and Dre kind of felt bad because they're like, he's just a fellow musician doing whatever. So they invited him on stage with them while they were doing a tour. And, Manson comes popping out of, behind the scenes and gets on stage with them. So I was like, well, that's nice, I guess, whatever. Cool. But he a lot of people really had problems with Manson. I always viewed him as like that generation's Kiss.
Like Insane Clown Posse is like that generation's Kiss.
Right. It's like he does all this weird shit and he sings all this stuff. His dad is, I guess, a minister from some evangelical church and shows up to a lot of his shows. It's like, so I don't even know which Manson is the real Manson at this point, And then when you see him on a talk show being interviewed or something, he's like so laid back and just like.
He is very polite.
Yeah, he's like super polite and well spoken, just laid back, just, talking to people. Sounds like he's an educated guy. So it's kind of like, who are you even,
I've had conversations with the guy and he's just a nice guy.
It's kind of like actors. If an actor tells you something, whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, there's a part of me that's like, can you believe it though? Because they're professional liars. That's their whole job. Seen him with 9 Inch Nails and Bowie. Nice. I mean, I would have went for Bowie for sure. I mean, you know,
Well, it's Bowie.
yeah. But so I don't know. I've just been painting miniatures, bro, and talking about Hyperborea, honestly.
So you've just been doing what you do.
And well, I told you I was in an online game, right, House?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Playing Hyperborea, it's actually going pretty good. I got missed this week, but it's okay because I already said what my character was doing. And the whole group, it's like we've been playing for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and it's been like a session 0 for the whole month. You know? And I tell you I'm playing a Roman guy that just shows up in Hyperborea as an adult, and I'm trying just to figure out what in the hell is going on, like, because 1 minute I'm in like the 8th Legion trying to track down the 9th Legion or some shit, and the next minute, you know, I'm in Hyperborea and everything's fucking crazy. I had no money, but luckily, you know how your character has a secondary skill. Mine's carpentry. So I went into a tavern and I agreed to like rebuild all of the shelves in his storeroom if he just let me have something to eat and drink and let me sleep by the fireplace. And the dude was like, yeah, okay. So the first like in-game week or so I was even in that world was me, you know, shaving and sawing down lumber to make sturdy Roman style shelving for this guy. Well, it's the tavern you've been to, the Silvery Ill.
Yeah, that's great though. That's just awesome.
So your characters, if you go back to the Silvery Ill, I might add in that the guy has all brand new, properly made shelving because, you know, my character's in that same world as you guys are, and I've rebuilt all of the shelving. And I went to the north, to North Haven, because a homeless guy told me that there were Latins there, but there weren't. And so now I'm heading back south, and the tavern keeper has offered me a job redoing his roof. And as a carpenter, yeah, I can reframe that roof and do stuff. So that's what I'll be doing. So maybe the next time we play, if you guys show up at the tavern, I'll point out that there's a Roman guy, a little olive complected dude up on the roof working while you're down there drinking or something. Just a little touchstone, you know. But eventually, me and the other people in the group who are all out doing their own shit are going to.
Who are you playing the game with?
It's online.
Yeah, who's running the game?
I want to say Brazilian, but don't quote me on that, woman named Cora, like with a C.
Really?
Yeah, she's doing a good job. Apparently, she's been in the Hyperborea since like 1st or 2nd edition.
That's fantastic, dude.
She speaks great English. She don't really have much of even an accent, so I can understand her. And she understands me, and she's pretty much running, right now she's running 4 independent games at one time, because none of the players have actually met each other yet. But we will eventually, at which point I expect we'll go adventuring or something. But I've been having a lot of fun just being the weird Roman guy trying to figure out how to exist in, you know, an alien world of billions of years in the future, you know. And I made my guy, as you would, your typical Roman. I've got banded armor, a large shield, a short sword, a javelin, 4 darts that are attached to the inside of my shield.
Nice.
I've got a broad blade dagger. I've got my sandals, and now I've got a nice, well, kind of ugly, stinky wool cloak that the tavern keeper gave me because he was worried I'd freeze to death on my way north. So I've kind of made friends with the tavern keeper, and you know who I'm talking about, the guy whose wife killed herself and everything.
Yeah.
So he's kind of been hooking me up, but I've been working my ass off, you know. So that's been cool. And that's kind of what's going on with my game. That's my whole game right there. But
We got to go get dinner because the wife is on her way from the terminal.
all right.
I only get to hang out with her for 1 day, so I'm going to hang out with her.
You should do that.
Oh, I talked to Justin. He's like, I don't know why
sent me
we're.
a thing.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know why we're arguing. I was like, good, stop it.
Well, he said we were arguing because I insinuated I was his dad. And if he's upset about that, I'm going to be like, why are you upset that I could be your dad? I mean,
I told him today that if anybody was his dad, it's me because I've been to Canada a lot more than you, and I was much more of a man whore.
I'm not going to argue.
Love you, brother. I can't wait to.
I mean, who wouldn't be proud to have me as their dad, except for my actual children?
Yeah, I can't wait to see you in 2 days.
Yep. Go hang out with your wife.
All right, love you. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I mean, it's not like I was saying his mom was a whore or anything. I just said I could be his dad. So Vic is,
hey, look, man, I'm the whore in this situation. That's what you got to tell him.
Yeah, like, I'm a good, honorable woman. It wasn't her fault. I just smooth talked her and then ran back across the border to freaking America. But look, you get to brag that your dad's like a retired fireman and a veteran. And so, I mean, actually, you got the cool dad. Plus, he plays role-playing games and shit. He is the Alice Cooper of that generation. Vic, I agree. You know, he's a guy who sung edgy boy songs and wore a lot of makeup and got on stage, and it was all about the show before it was about the music.
It's interesting the impression you get from somebody because you look at it and I was like, yeah, Alice Cooper way. But then you hear about like behind the scenes how nice of a guy he is, and he'll like run food kitchens for the homeless, and like when he was neighbors with Groucho Marx, like he would come over late at night whenever Groucho would call him because like his wife was dead and he was just like bored and depressed. So he'd grab a 6-pack and hang out with Groucho Marx to keep him from thinking dark thoughts, you know.
For years, he'd just sit with Groucho Marx until he fell asleep.
Yeah. And you're like, wow. Yeah, that's, you know.
And you know what? That's not like a new thing that went down with him when he got older. When he was young and touring, he was just a nice guy.
Yeah.
You know? So, well, you know, the one you think would be the biggest dick in Kiss, it turns out, is actually the nicest. Freaking Gene Simmons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's always like volunteering, donating, doing all this shit.
I forgot who it was. Rob Zombie was a real just dickhead to one of them, and he was one of the guys from Kiss. He was known for like taking new artists like under his wing and showing them because they were rock stars, so they knew the entire industry.
Right.
He was trying to help him out, and the guy was, Rob Zombie was just saying he was like some, this fucking nobody loser from a washed up band, and it's like, dude, you're Rob Zombie, you're fucking nobody. I don't care how many bad horror movies you make, you're never gonna be anything, to be honest. So I forget which one of the guys from Kiss it was. What's that?
And he's gone.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't heard shit from him since he did like a Halloween remake. So. Yeah, he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, and the last album he had that anyone gave a shit about was the one that had like Dragula on it or whatever. That's been like 20 years.
That's been forever ago, yeah.
It's like, yeah, you were popular for about 5 minutes. And then everybody was just like, whatever.
Let me see if I get this here. Picked up poster from Adepticon, yeah. Yeah. Because they moved it up to Milwaukee, so they had that one scene from Wayne's World when they went to go see Alice Cooper in Milwaukee. Yeah.
Well, they're not.
They're not. No, Mike Myers is awful. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know other than his elbows up bullshit that he said recently, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't care.
It's another guy's career is fucking over anyway. Who cares?
Yeah, he lives in New York, so it's like, shut up. But man, his early Austin Powers shit was hilarious.
Yep.
And his SNL stuff was pretty awesome too, you know.
When he was Lothar, the Hill People.
Yeah, I mean, you know. So I don't know. I can't hate him because I'm just like, this guy was pretty badass there for a
Did you see those Ryan Gosling skits that he did when he was last on it?
No.
They're pretty good. You should check them out. There's two of them. There's a commercial on there that was really funny. It was, I forget what it's for. I think it's for like plaque psoriasis or whatever like that. But they discovered this one drug, but they don't know where it comes from or how it exists. And they're like, the commercial makes it seem to be like it's some kind of like Cthulhu mythos being. It's really hilarious. They're like, we don't know what it wants. All we know is that it hungers for more psoriasis. It's really funny.
I got to check that. The only SNL I've watched recently, guys, is the two guys that they had to get to replace Norm Macdonald when they write each other's jokes.
Mm.
The one guy is the white dude that's married to like Scarlett Johansson. And then you got the other dude's like the brother.
Okay.
And they do like the weekend update. And every now and then they write each other's jokes. And let's just say this. There's one joke where the one guy says, and today Sam's Club stopped carrying its roast beef sandwiches, which doesn't really affect me since my wife had kids.
I remember hearing about that.
And you see Scarlett Johansson looking at the screen like, what the fuck? She was there.
Yeah.
And he's just, the dude just shakes his head. He's just like, sorry, babe. And then they go back at the other dude and they say something about black women, this, and that, which doesn't matter to this guy since he never dates black women. You know, and they just go at each other, and it is hilarious. Right. But the rest of Saturday Night Live is kind of like, who cares? You know, it came and went. Its last gasp was probably when they had Adam Sandler on. So how long ago has that been, really? Like the 90s?
Adam Sandler, when he was like an active member of it? Yeah, that was before Will Ferrell. So that was, early 90s.
Yeah, because you had Adam Sandler, and he played like the guy that would give you directions and like, you know, all that kind of shit. He played Opera Man.
Yeah, he did Opera Man, and then what was the other one? The Bayou guy or whatever.
Yeah,
like that.
He was the Bayou guy, and it was like that was pretty funny. And that's also when he put out his album with like Piece of Shit Car and you know all the other the goat song about the talking goat, and you know, but after that, it was like so hit and miss, you know. It's like but that's like all of the late night shows have pretty much sucked.
Yeah,
they were good in the 80s and pretty good in the 90s, and then after that, it's like I don't know. I have a theory, and the theory is that there's been some kind of like creative drain, and they just don't have writers that are funny anymore because of maybe aliens or something. I don't know why.
No, it's like I said, they just don't have experience.
Yeah,
you know, it's just not doing anything. Because the problem is it's this whole political thing. You're going to have these guys who did go to war, but most of those guys, they're going to be a little bit, you know, maybe too right for them. So they're going to hire these people who just like are somebody's kid who got into publishing or got into comedy, and they're not good at anything, but they had the connections. Because for the longest time, I still remember, I was like, why the fuck was Pauly Shore something? Why was he anything? And then I didn't realize until recently that his mom ran the Comedy Store in California. So that's why he showed up in all these movies and stuff. He's nobody. He had never had a shred of talent, but it was because of his connections through his mother that he had a movie career. Otherwise, why would anybody even give a shit about Pauly Shore? And it was like, because what was it?
No, I can definitely say I never gave a shit about that guy. He was like the worst thing in everything he was in.
Everything, yeah. And it was why it was like, oh, and that's why it was hilarious. I think I saw him on Rogan when he was last on it, and he's just got this big Coke bloated head. And he's like, ugh. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you should look like, worthless. You know?
It was like he was the worst thing on Encino Man. He was the worst thing in Biodome. I
Yeah.
can't even think of anything where he was not the worst thing on the thing.
Right.
It's
Like there were even the movies where he was the star in it, and you were like, I prefer that guy in the back over there. I think he's a good actor. You know? That guy that's just leaning against the wall. Look at him. He could hold that wall up. That's a good actor right there.
well, you've answered a question I've often thought about then.
Yeah, like who saw anything in this guy? And it was like, oh, there was nothing. It was just that his mom ran, one of the biggest comedy clubs in
forever been
California.
like,
So
how did that happen?
yeah,
And now I know.
Mhm.
That's something. Well, I mean, okay. Yeah, I have nothing to add to that. I mean, because you think in Encino Man, both of the other actors in that movie are way better than he is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's just like whatever, And even in like Biodome, the young Baldwin is still a better actor than Pauly Shore. And plus, let's be honest, we already brought it up once. That dude kicked ass in Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
He was good. And I loved how he had that thing going with Del Toro's character. And when they're talking shit about the Baldwin guy, McManus, and Del Toro's like, he'll flip you for real. And they're like, what? Yeah, because he was an actual shooter. That was his thing. Not just being a thief, but he was, I guess, ex-military or something. He knew how to lay it down. But the funniest part of The Usual Suspects, and I'm going to say it, if you haven't seen it yet out there in the audience and you think this is spoilers, what's wrong with you? It's been out 30 years. The funniest thing is you don't know if any part of the movie is real. You know what I mean, Paul?
Well, I know there's the big switch with Kaiser Soze at the end, but like,
which means everything that he said about everything that happened in the movie,
right,
could be a total lie. You don't know anything about it because it's all based on him, and he's a liar.
Yeah.
The only thing you do know is there's a Hungarian in the hospital with a face like some bacon talking about Kaiser Soze, but that's all you know. You don't know how any of them actually died. You don't know anything. You just know what he said. And of course, they had the one dude that's in so many great movies as his driver. What they called him, Mr. Kobayashi or whatever. It turned out Kobayashi was the brand of coffee cup he was drinking out of.
Right, yeah.
It was like the first time I watched that movie, it caught me by surprise 100%. I was like, wow, that movie just tricked the shit out of me. I was with it. I thought I knew what was going on. Then you find out in the end, nope, you don't know shit.
Be back in a minute.
And that's why it's a great movie. Oh, look at you, Starfleet Academy guy, or is that Babylon 5? I can't tell. I like the uniform though. So he's got to take off for a second. And I'll probably close up shop here in about 20, but so yeah, I've got a couple of modules I'm thinking about doing videos on as far as Hyperborea. There'll be old basic edition TSR modules probably. I might actually do a poll on Discord to see who wants to see which one in what order. Because a lot of it has just been whatever Mike or Steven or Cold Iron Skillet has asked me for. But maybe I'll do a poll and see. I'm really eyeballing the Horror on the Hill though right now. I think let's be honest, Horror on the Hill is basically just B2 except a little different. But I already know where I could put it, across the river from a region in Hyperborea. And I'm already sure what I could swap out, for certain monsters that shouldn't be there in Hyperborea. So, yeah, I'm really leaning towards that one. Um, if I do the Barrier Peaks, I will probably change out some things there too, but not as much as you might think. What I will change out is the nature of the spacecraft. Like, I might actually make the spacecraft like a NASA spacecraft that come from a long, long ago and somehow crashed in the Spiral Mountains near Mount Vermithone. And that means I will definitely change out how the las weapons look and make them look more like actual pistols and rifles and not weird TVs you carry on your shoulder. But the Vegapygmies and the Frogamots and stuff like that definitely can stay since they're aliens anyway. So yeah. So Expedition Barrier Peak wouldn't have to change hardly at all to be put in Hyperborea. And so that would be an easy one to do, really. And
yeah, Kobayashi was Pete Postlethwaite. You don't forget that face. That guy had a very unique look to him.
he did, and he's
Big
in.
nose.
His IMDb must be like a meter long.
He's in everything.
Yeah, that dude is in everything. Like, and he's good in it. He was in the Sharp series, and he was like the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's another one too, where like anybody who's anybody in English acting was in Sharps.
yeah,
Everybody was in that show.
yeah, and he was like a horrible person, right? He was like the worst. And
Well, they shot him, didn't they, for like insubordinate or not insubordinate? He did something worse, I forgot, but they lined him up and shot him.
Yeah, he went mutiny, but what got him in trouble is he was forcing the wives of young soldiers that were sent to his regiment to sleep with him, or he would put their husbands in like the worst positions and stuff.
Mm.
And when Sharp found out about it, I think he was like, yeah, you know. And so then he become a treasonous bastard and a bandit, and like joined up with a bunch of other, deserters and bandits, and tried to do a bunch of bad stuff, and eventually got captured and, like you said, shot.
Yeah, because he was in Alien 3. I remember that because you could recognize any of those guys, even though they shaved all their heads, because it was like him and Charles Dance and a bunch of other English actors. It just seemed like they did a roundup. They're like, let's get all these guys, and then we'll get Charles S. Dutton here too. Why not? We'll get he's bald usually. He could add some gravitas.
Is that the black dude that was like the garbage man in Detroit before he actually?
Yeah, what was it? He was like a furniture mover or something like that before he was an actor, and they were just like, look at him. He can talk really eloquently. And you're like, what? You're like, yeah.
He had his own TV series for a while, too, playing a garbage man in Detroit.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it was like, all right, But, yeah.
What did he do? Because, it looks, he's listed for Alien 3. I'm trying to see if he did anything else. Oh, he was in Legion. That was a terrible film. What else is this here?
Yeah, it could have been better.
He was a detective on Longmire, which was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a voice on the Scooby-Doo WrestleMania mystery. There you go. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he was.
What is this? Something called the Obama Effect. It's rated 1.7.
Well, I couldn't tell you, but it doesn't sound.
Oh, this says all you need to know about it. Directed by him, written by him, stars him. So it's one of those kind of projects, one of those vanity projects.
Yeah.
the fuck? Cat Williams is in it? What is going on? And
So
sometimes,
he managed to get some idiots to give him a bunch of money,
yeah,
and
and he
then
used it all to
you know,
hire to have Cat Williams star alongside him in some piece of shit.
yeah,
Let's see, Legion, Express, American Violet. Yeah, this guy did nothing. He was there for a hot minute in the '90s. I forget what his TV show was, but yeah,
yeah,
and then that was it.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that guy.
3 I didn't care for so much. Alien and Aliens, of course, I loved.
Yeah, two
Uh,
very different movies, and you could say like one is better than the other, or one is first place and one is second place, and you'd be right, whichever one you said, because they're both
right.
like that good. It's all in
You
taste,
could
I
say
think.
they're both the best because you could say Alien is like the best sci-fi horror movie ever made, and then Aliens is like, okay, maybe not the best, but definitely a top 5 sci-fi action film. Because the best sci-fi action film, in my opinion, is Predator. That movie,
Predator, yeah,
that movie is so good. You know, you've got the ensemble cast, and they're all funny and cool, and then the alien just starts ripping their skulls out. Shit, it's like, oh shit. Talk about a movie that does a swap right in the middle. You know, you're watching a movie and it's all gung ho American jingoism, just fucking up commies somewhere in Central America, and the next thing you know, it's like Call of Cthulhu just comes out of the jungle, starts freaking murdering bitches. You know, it's like you kind of should have though. Anyone who watches it should have known it was going to be that kind of movie when they found all that Special Forces A team skinned hanging out of the trees. It's like, yeah, this is going to be rough because anything that can kill a whole, you know, team of Special Forces Green Beret guys and then skin them like that, hang them up, is not something anybody wants to be messing with, right? Because, you know, not that I was ever a Green Beret, but I can tell you those dudes are serious, you know, especially if they're in First Special Operations Group. That's Delta. Yeah, those are serious guys, man. Even the alien might have had a problem with some of those dudes. You know what I'm saying? They're what in the military they call tier 1 operators, which means there's no one better. You know, the kind of team you send 5 of these guys into a country and tell them to just wreck it. You know,
as they often do. It's like, we
as
got
they
orders from the CIA again. Go in and destroy the country for some reason.
do for some
Okay,
reason. Yeah, you got them,
probably
and
for
then
money.
SEAL team has their own special, like how Army has Delta, SEAL team has like DSOG or some shit, and they're like the very best of the very best SEAL guys that go in and just do crazy shit. But yeah, I think Predator is probably one of the best action movies of all time. But that could just be me showing that I'm a creature of my generation too. You know.
Mm-hmm. Some kind of creature, yeah.
Some kind of creature for sure. Let me think though. What is an action movie that's better?
Then Predator.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Mad Max 2. I love Conan the Barbarian.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like the first thing that would kind of come under
Dev
your
Crew, Steven, you're right. Dev Crew.
yeah. The first thing that would come into my mind though was like Die Hard. But that's the same director, so it's like it's the same thing, you know.
Yeah, Die Hard was freaking good. Die Hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to hear me sit here and talk shit. Die Hard was good. It was.
It just
Bruce Willis
it
being the
had a
best
little bit.
Willis.
It had a little bit more, you know. It had the inner character stuff. You learned a little bit about each kind of guy. Like Predator was very much that was a lot like kind of Fury Road, where it was like we don't have time to think. We're on a chase, you know. There's no time to kind of stop and have moments. So yeah,
Right.
Predator is very much. And before you get to know anybody, they're dead anyway, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. Predator had, well, okay, but then again, Die Hard had killer one-liners too,
Yeah,
including maybe one of the best one-liners of all time, which is "I've got a machine gun," ho ho ho,
yeah.
or some shit like, or yippee ki yay and all that shit.
Yep.
I mean, but then in Predator, you've got like Rico or whatever telling the jokes, or Pedro was his name, you know. Gee, you got big pussy. Gee, you got big pussy. Well, you didn't have to say it twice. I didn't. It was the echo. And then he's telling it to Billy, the Indian.
Oh,
Billy doesn't laugh until
yeah.
like halfway through the movie. He just stops. All of a sudden, he's like, starts
Yeah.
laughing because it hits him.
It's funny too because that's Shane Black, and they like originally he wasn't supposed to be there, but they had to hire him on as an actor because they wanted him to punch up the script. But
Right.
because of some bullshit guild rules, like they were like, you can't do that. So they're like, no, he's in the movie. He's going to be this guy Hawkins. He's a wisecracking whatever, the radio operator or whatever. Here you go. And so yeah, but it's funny because like everybody while they were down there in the Yucatan was just working out like crazy. So there's scenes where you see Shane Black and you're like, I thought he was a writer, like, but he must have been hanging out, and Schwarzenegger was probably like, "Look how good you lifting weights, come on," and dragged him to the gym. So like he's all cut because I guess he was like, I'm not gonna run around with some fat guy. He has to look like he's special forces. Come on. So they had Shane Black like cutting weight but he was sitting back like punching up the script. That's all he did. So on occasion, but that was the thing. I think a lot of those guys had military experience. That guy who played Poncho definitely did. He was like a ranger, I think. So
Yeah, Pancho was like a ranger. Jesse Ventura was a Navy SEAL. We all
everybody
know
knows.
that.
I went through
Spoken to
bunts. I was a frog man. I could do underwater demolitions. And you're like, okay, all right, we get it, dude.
I've got a house in the Baja.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even live here anymore. Like, good. Fuck off.
That was like one of the best things about hanging out with Bears. He could just Jesse Ventura,
Jesse Ventura,
like wanting to cry, Oh my God, he'd just go off, and I'd just be like, "Oh goodness, this guy." But yeah, Jesse Ventura was like a Navy SEAL. You had the Ranger dude. Billy was a bar fighter who apparently couldn't stay out of jail. That was his special meat.
Yes, Sonny Landon. Yeah, the funny thing I heard is every day they had him on set. For insurance purposes, they had to have guys who were bigger than him that could wrestle him down in case he started drinking.
Right.
Because he was like this 6'6" like Cherokee guy who, as soon as he got any fire water in him, would just start killing people. So
yeah, he had issues.
Yeah.
He had one of the best lines in the movie too, though, when he's talking to who's he talking to? The radio guy, and the radio guy says something, and Billy's like, "There's something out there, and I'm afraid." And the other guy's like, "Bullshit! You ain't afraid of no man." And Billy's like, "There's something out there, and it ain't no man." And it's
yeah,
like, oh,
that's what he told him. He's like, "I'm afraid, Poncho."
Yeah,
that's bullshit. Yeah, you're not afraid of no man, Billy. He's like, something out there. It ain't no man. We're all gonna die. Like, he just looks at him and says, "We're all gonna die." You're like, "Oh, okay,
okay, nice. Thank you."
I like how he was the scout too. You would think like normally the scout would be somebody that's like Poncho's stature, a little short 5-foot guy, and instead it's like no, the 6.5 foot Native American guy with that has what did he have? He had the M4 with the underbarrel like breaching shotgun. What the fuck?
Yeah,
sure,
like an M16 with an underbarrel 870. This is like, what are you doing here, man? That's okay.
Yeah.
Or the other, I ain't got time to bleed. You got time.
If you understood, if you were in special forces, you'd understand. He was loaded with Rhodesian jungle shot. It goes right through trees. Like, yeah, okay, Jesse. Okay.
Well, that was one thing that I heard was that Schwarzenegger was supposed to carry the minigun, and he was like, "I ain't carrying that." Yeah. So then they're like, "Jesse," and he's like, "Yeah, I'll carry that." Because you remember there was a minute where Jesse Ventura was in a couple Schwarzenegger movies. Like he was in Running Man as Captain Freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Captain Freedom's Workout.
Captain Freedom's Workout. And he's like flexing out.
Are you ready for pain?
Yeah. And then you had the one big dude and
that guy. What was his name? His like Sven something or another. He was in all of those. Because he was, I think he was one of the guys in Conan.
He was the dude with the hammer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that hit the pillar and knocked it down and almost killed
Yeah.
Rexor. I forget
Yeah,
what his character name was, but he was one of Schwarzenegger's workout buddies.
Yeah.
And
he goes to him, he's
I
like,
love that. He's
Sven,
like, what are you, deaf? From the
I got
steroids
to score some
or some shit?
steroids.
Yeah, must be from the steroids. Yeah. And of course you had Mac Fleetwood in Running Man. And you had one of
Weasel
Frank
Zappa.
Zappa's sons.
Yeah.
It was like
Weasel
they're just
Zappa
hiring
with
all
a
kinds of
stupid
people.
beret. Yeah.
And of course the Killian, who actually had been a
Yeah, he was the host of Family Feud for a while.
right, you know, I mean,
who loves you and who do you love? Yeah. Then they shoot him. I like how they shoot him through that thing and he goes right through the sign and for some reason it explodes into fire. You're like, all right.
Hey, it's a Schwarzenegger movie. It doesn't have any sense at all.
That was the thing that pissed me off. They just got out of like the labor camp where their heads were going to explode, and then the next thing they're with the Rebel Underground, and it's all gritty. But he has a fresh cigar, and you're like, Schwarzenegger, you really couldn't have just waited till the cameras were off to have your cigar. You're having the fucking cigar. Where did you find that? They're in the middle of they're in this like dump where like the houses are made of trash, and he's like, I got this stogie, I found it. Come on, I smoke it now. You're like, no. Why did you say that's what happens when you have a director that gets bossed around by the star?
Schwarzenegger's like, but I look really cool with it.
Yeah, but it looks cool, doesn't it? It's like, it doesn't make any sense. You just escaped from prison. How did you get this? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but the director is like, you're right though. It does look cool though.
Yeah, he's like, you kind of got me, I guess.
Got me. It's kind of cool. You know, nothing to lose your head about over though, right?
Oh God, I forgot they did a remake of Running Man. Ugh.
Oh, it was horrible.
It's like the original Running Man is like 101 minutes. That one is like 133 minutes. It's like an extra half hour of trash.
Yeah. They did a remake of Total Recall way back in the day. Yeah. Total trash. And Total Recall was great, mainly because of Michael Ironside. Oh my God, he was so good in that. You know, and the one gray-haired dude who was, I guess, a nobody, but the whole when he's like, "Are you saying she liked it?"
Oh yeah, the one that gets stabbed in the stomach by the midget.
Yeah, by the midget. Yeah, when he's like, "I'll tell you, I'd be pretty pissed off if they put my wife with a man like that too." No, I'm sure she hated it the whole time, and he just looks at it. It's like, oh my goodness. Ironside. Ironside's good in everything, though.
Yeah.
He was in this shitty movie that I love and watch a lot called Space Hunter and the Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. And Michael Ironside plays like Overdog. And he's like this cyborg drug addict mutant that rules this planet. And like these supermodels crash on the planet, and the nearest person to get them is Space Hunter, and he has to land on the planet, which is, you know, a forbidden planet because of its poison and everything, and track down these beautiful Earth women who are being, you know, chased by mutants and everything. And Molly Ringwald's in it, and apparently her character stinks so bad at one point Space Hunter like drags her to a pond and forces her to bathe because he can't stand to have her in his car with him. And the dude from Night Court, the bailiff from Night Court's in it.
Yeah, Bull from Night Court or whatever. Yeah.
No, the black guy.
Oh, really? Okay.
He's in it as like the local marshal, and it's so crazy. There's like one gang of guys that live on a train, and then Overdog, and then there's all these mutants and Amazons and water, and he's riding around, and he's got a pistol that shoots like rockets, so like a Gaujet pistol. You know, and it was supposed to be in 3D, so when you watch it not in 3D, it's really goofy because, you know, they'll have things come out. But Michael Ironside, and then of course he's the best thing about Starship Troopers.
Yeah, he's the only one that I ever paid money to like get a picture with, because I was like, man, this guy's getting old, and like he's been in a lot of the shit that I liked back in the day. So he was at C2E2. They had a Starship Troopers like reunion where everybody was there. It was like I forget who the fucking lead guy is because he didn't do jack shit until afterwards. But he was there. Gary Busey's kid was there.
Yeah, Busey's kid did a couple of things I like a lot.
And then the two ladies that were in there too, and then Michael Ironside. It was like 5 of them. They were doing Q&A and stuff like that. But I went and got a picture with him. It was
Because Gary Busey's kid was the bad guy in Frighteners.
Mhm.
And that movie is one of my favorite movies.
It's a very not Michael J. Fox film. It's interesting to see him in that. You're like,
and it also has the dude from The Reanimator and all that bullshit.
Jeffrey Combs, yeah, that guy's
FBI guy.
Jeffrey Combs is awesome. Yeah, like he's in there.
Yeah, it's like my body is a roadmap of pain. It's like what? This guy.
But you know it's bad because he's getting into his car and he has to sit on one of those inflatable donuts, and you're like, I don't want to know. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with him that he has to sit on one of those.
Yeah, and like women voices freak him out.
Yeah,
like they put him undercover with cults for like his whole career, and now he's just a freaking. Which is kind of what they did to Rust in True Detective.
Yeah.
Because he flipped out and shot that guy in the head, so they just put him undercover with like the drug unit for 10 years or some shit. So he's constantly having flashbacks and stuff. You know they're making a True Detective 6, I think, or is it 5? And it's going to be those 2 guys back.
It's a return to form. Yeah, that's the problem is they keep doing that. You see this, it's almost like an abusive cycle of like a guy beating his wife. You know, they're doing it with D&D now. They're like, oh no, now we got Jeff Easley back, and it's going to be a Melf the Elf. There's going to be a Gygax involved. It's gonna be okay, baby. I didn't mean it when I made all that other bullshit, and then I came up with that you heard me talking about the OGL and all this other stuff. That was all talk. It didn't mean anything. It's like, no, dude, it's over. It's been over for a while.
You know, you sounded like to me, Bruce Campbell, Army of Darkness.
Oh, really?
That's just what we call pillow talk, baby.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
I love Bruce Campbell in those movies. Actually, in pretty much everything he's ever been in. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Briscoe County Jr. and Spider-Man. And there's something about Bruce Campbell. He's just a charismatic guy, you know. And I watched the Evil Dead series. It was hilarious. Or Army of Darkness.
Well, he was like a less goofy Jim Carrey. Like he could do that kind of plastic face thing. He was very emotive with what he did, but he was like, you know, he could be a leading man. And you're like, okay, whereas Jim Carrey was like a cartoon character, you know?
Yeah, like a living cartoon character. That's a good way to even say Jim Carrey. And not that Bruce Campbell ever got the break he deserved, really, but
no, especially now. I guess he's taking a step back because he's got some kind of cancer or something, or some kind of sickness. I was like, oh, well, that's rough.
It is rough, and it's not too much of a surprise when you think about the first Army of Darkness came out. I was like 12. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. People are like, it's funny when people are like, wow, so got old. It's like, dude, time keeps moving. Everybody's older.
Yeah, that's
everybody's getting old. So
every time Haas tells me some actor died, and I'm like, bro, we're 55.
Yeah.
And 54 for him. It's like, so if we watched this dude when we were little kids, and now we're 50 something, this dude's like 90. And it turns out a lot of times, they're like 80 something, 90. I mean, Bruce Campbell's older than my mom. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that I want anything bad to happen to him. I'm not saying it like that. Like, screw the guy. Obviously, it's not that. But it's just the idea that, they're old. We're old. You know, it happened.
Yeah.
While we weren't paying attention, somehow we all got old. Yeah, they called it Team 6 because there was no team like 5 or 4 or 3, Steve. And it was supposed to be a big joke, like so that our enemies would know that there was a team 6 and assume that obviously there had to be a 4 or 5. I'm responding to Stephen from a while back about Dev Grew Team 6.
Yeah. No,
But
sorry
now,
if I look confused. I'm sitting here. I'm going through the Gen
Yeah,
Con
you look
list. There's like
confused.
20. There's 23,000 events, and I'm just trying to figure shit
But
out.
now
here.
there's actually those teams got filled in. But at the time, they named it that specifically because there were no teams up to that number. But we wanted to pull the Soviets.
They okay. Oh, because they wanted Soviets to be like,
We
they
wanted
have
Soviets to
6
think there was a
teams. They are
4
all
and a 5.
powerful like Team 6. It is like that movie Leonard 6 with the Bill Cosby.
Right. And then, it turns out that at that time there weren't, but now there are.
There was no Leonard 1 through 5.
Right. But I'm going to get going. Paul, thank you for hanging out with me today.
No worries. Yeah. Hopefully I kept you company while you were painting your little plastic men. And
you did. And we had pretty good talks about movies, and I learned some stuff about Pauly Shore that definitely makes a lot of stuff about Pauly Shore make a lot more sense to me.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine if that guy was a nobody off the street walking in and like trying to go for a role.
Yeah.
I would think that any casting person would like chuck a brick at him.
Wouldn't it? Yeah. They're like, so what's your thing? And he's like, I do the weasel, buddy. They'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
They're calling security. They're having him thrown out on his ass. But anyway, I will talk to you next time I'm on, I guess, if you're on.
Yep. Okay.